Hi there. You know how important it is when you're building a house that you create a solid foundation to begin with? Well, the same thing applies when you're building a website. So in this video, I'm going to be showing you how to set the foundations up for a Greenshift powered website so that it's going to make your life easier building the site from the very beginning instead of having to, come back and change a whole bunch of things later. So I'm going to be showing you how to set up the typography from the beginning, global colors, and also I'll be touching on the class system that Greenshift has, bless their souls, brought into the plugin, and it is amazing when you start using it. And you'll notice how fast it will be and easier it will be to build out a website. So, with that said, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we're going to touch on is typography. So we're going to set up heading, paragraph, and button styling for our typography. So to do that, we're going to have to grab a couple of fonts. In this example, I'm just grabbing the fonts from Google Fonts, and we're going to be installing them and storing them locally on the website, as opposed to fetching them from the Google servers. If you're in a European country, you will need to store your fonts locally, otherwise you'll be breaking the law. So this is going to be really good for you to see how to do this, and particularly using Greenshift font loader. It's really easy. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go get a couple of fonts. So in my case, or in this example, I'm going to be using the Laura font for all my heading elements. So all the H1, H2 headings, that sort of thing. So I'm going to use the bold 700. So I'm going to select that, and that gets added to the side here. Okay, the next font that I'm going to pair that with is Poppins. It's quite a nice font as well. And I'm going to grab the regular 400, and this is going to be for the body copy. So it's all the content, the text, paragraphs, and also this is going to apply to button text as well, and menu text as well. So I'm going to select that, and that's get added to the side here. Okay, so I could go ahead and just click the down all button here, but I don't want to do that because Google will deliver a true type font file format, TTF file format. The problem with TTF file formats is that they are pretty big in file size. So we want to get the WOFF or WOFF, either one or two variations of that. And because the reason why we choose those is because they're a lot smaller in file size. Let me just show you as an example here. So I've got the Laura bold font already downloaded, and I've already got the Poppins regular WOFF 2 font downloaded. And you'll notice that the WOFF 2 is 8 kilobytes and the WOFF file is 24 kilobytes. So WOFF 2 is smaller than WOFF, but generally modern browsers support WOFF 2. Older browsers support WOFF, so it's good to get both. But if you can't get both, then you should be pretty well covered with having WOFF 2 or just standard WOFF. But if you look at a true type font format, let me just go and show you the regular Poppins here. Look at that, 158 kilobytes. So compare that to the WOFF 2 file, only 8 kilobytes. So which one would you prefer? I'm gonna just leave that up to you to answer. I know which one I would prefer. Okay, so how do we get these WOFF files if when we download them from Google that it only gives us the true type font? So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a trick here. So in the side here, so once you've got your fonts here, you're gonna then wanna highlight this href URL. So I'm gonna copy that, and then we're going to go and open that up in another browser, and we're going to ignore all of this, so the Cyrillic Ext and Cyrillic and Vietnamese and Latin Ext, that is what we're going to ignore, but we're going to focus on the Latin, just the Latin ones here. So we've got the Laura, we've got the 700, which is the bold, and that's the one I want. So what we're going to do is we're going to highlight this source URL here, and we're going to copy that and paste it into another browser tab. And then you'll get the opportunity to save the file as a WAF. So this is good here to save it as what it is. So that's going to be Laura Bold, right? So I've already downloaded that, but that's what you do, and then you hit save and that will download it to wherever you want it to go. And then under the Latin for Poppins, you'll do the same. So this is a WAF 2. I'm going to copy that, so copy, grab it, pop it up there, and we're going to do the same. So we'll just name it Poppins, go to PP, and this is going to be regular. And then you'll hit save, and then you've got that on your computer. Sweet. Okay, so let's clear these. So you've got that. So that's pretty clear. Now we can come into the Greenshift settings. Just beforehand, you've got to make sure you've got the Greenshift plugin installed and also the Greenshift theme installed. They're both free. They're very much worth getting to know if you haven't yet. So back to Greenshift settings, we've got the local font loader here. So I'm going to put in Laura. As you can see, I've already done this. It's a WAF file, so I'm going to go get that. My desktop project, Laura Bold. Perfect. And we're going to add another font, and this is going to be Poppins. Here, it's a WAF 2. I'm going to pop that in there like that. And if you want to add more fonts, you just click on Add New or Add Font. But in my case, I'm not. And I'm going to save that. So I've got those fonts now loaded in to the website. Now, some of you might say, well, what about all these other file formats? So look, there's an argument to say that you should upload multiple different types of font files, just so that you're covering different mobile browsers, that may not support all these types of fonts. You should have all of them up, and there's definitely an argument for that. So, but in this example, I'm just showing you how to do it really simply with just a single font file. So, and there's probably other questions that you've got about fonts, but I'll leave that to the comments. So, okay, so now that we've got that all in there, we can now move over to the Stylebook. So under Greenshift Stylebook, we've got some really cool things in here. So I'm going to go and hit Create, and then this will give us some tabs at the top. So global elements. So these are the headings. This is what I was telling you about before. So I'm going to be applying the typography or fonts to these headings. I'm going to be creating some global color presets here, and this is where all your classes sit as well. It's a little tutorial video on how to create as well, and then you've got site identity. You can put your logo, icon, and your title and description, which is pretty neat, all into one place. Now, one word of warning: when you make changes, always make sure to hit the save button. As many times I've gone through change all this, and then I've left the page. Yes, a warning comes up. Silly me. I just keep going through, and then I just lose all my things. So it's not a good thing. So now that we got our typography and fonts installed, we can now apply them to our headings and our paragraph and our button. So I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to go down to the so you can go in and change the fonts, font sizes and colors and stuff like that. But I'm just going to go in and show you how to assign the fonts. So I've got Laura Bold here, and you can see that changing, which is nice. Now, what I also like to do is put a 1 margin at the top and a 24 at the bottom, just to space things out a little bit. Maybe 20. No, I'll go 24. So that's cool. And then I will just continue to do the same with all the other ones. So, okay, so that's all the heading elements done. And now I'm going to apply the Poppins font to the text here. And that's going to be my Poppins read, and you can see that change, which is nice. And I'm also going to change the font size here, so I'm going to change it to a rem unit. And it's going to be 1.125, which is about 18 pixels. And then I'm going to go to the button, and I'm going to set the typography to Poppins in there, and yeah, I'll keep the button font size the same as well. So great, now I'm going to save that so I don't lose anything. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the global colors component. So this is going to be where I set up the global colors. Now again, if you're working with a client, they're going to give you a logo, and then you can grab colors out of that, or they might have a branding or a style guide that they have different colors. So you can go and plug these in, get their hex values, or their HSL or RGB, whichever one you want to choose. And then you can just plug them in to your color presets here, which is pretty nice. In my case, I'm just going to go to coolers.co, and I'm going to just generate some colors really easily. So don't like that, so I'm going to hit spacebar to render some more, and I'm going to keep going through until I find some contrasting colors, some dark contrasting. And okay, so I'm going to choose these. So what I do is just go copy each one of these. Don't need fonts anymore, so close that down. And I'll paste these in now. Okay, great. So now that I've got that, I'm going to save it. So I've got my global colors in, and I've now got my global elements set up. So my headings, my paragraph, and my button. I may want to change the background of my button. Now, you notice that the Greenshift palette I've just added to the global colors sits under here, but you won't see that immediately. What you need to do, make sure you save everything, and then just refresh the page, and then come back in, and then you'll be able to see your colors down here. Right. So in my case, I'm going to choose this blue color, blue navy sort of color, for the just the standard color there. And for the hover, I'm going to go and change it to yeah, maybe this purple. Okay, nice, great. So I'm now going to save that. So now that is done. So all these, so we've set up global colors and the global typography. We've added the fonts that we've loaded in and applied those to our headings and paragraph and button elements. Now it is to go into the site editor and start building stuff, which we'll do right now. Okay, so we're going to head back out and we're going to go to the appearance editor. Now there's a couple of things we still need to set up here before we get cracking. So first of all, I'm going to clear up a few things in here. I'm just going to remove all of this. Cool. I'm going to go into the layout settings and make this 1200 so it matches the width. Nice. Great. Okay, so perfect. So now we've got to set up typography in here because we want the typography and the fonts that we've loaded in the Greenshift settings to apply to any core WordPress Gutenberg block as well. So we've applied it to the Greenshift elements, but we haven't yet applied it to the core blocks in the WordPress site, or they call Gutenberg blocks. Because sometimes you may just want to use a paragraph block, which is just the core block. So we need to set that up. So let's go to the little icon up here, and then we've got primary font family. So here I am going, so it says you can upload local fonts in Greenshift settings, which we've done. So I'm going to choose Laura Bold. So that's going to be the primary, that's going to cover all the headings. Secondary family font's going to be Poppins, so that's for the body content. And I'm going to also for tertiary go Poppins as well. And I'm going to hit save. Changes. Then I'm going to head back to the global settings by clicking that little styles icon. Then I'm going to come to typography, and I'm going to work my way down here. So texts, system font, I want that to be secondary, which is going to be Poppins. And you'll see the menu has changed to the Poppins font, which is nice. Links, I'm going to set that to, can be either tertiary or secondary. I'll just put it to secondary because it's the same. Headings, all headings will have the primary theme font, so that's going to apply to all H1s or H heading tags. Nice. And then captions, I will set that to secondary as well, so that will be Poppins. And of course buttons, I'll also choose the secondary, which is going to be Poppins. Great, so I'll save that. So they're all locked in. Okay, now let's, I'll just show you, let's build out something. So I'm going to go and add a row. It's going to have 2 columns. In this one over here, I'm going to have an image. So I'll throw an image in there. I think I've got one already loaded, which is great. I'll just use that and go to the image settings here. Just go 100% width on that, so it just takes up all of that. Then I'm going to just drop in some elements here. So we're going to use the advanced heading, which is the Greenshift heading block. Cool, I'm going to change that to a H1 because it's a hero starter of a website page. So you can see that now that is applied the font, which is the Laura Bold, correct. And you'll notice that it's also got the margin settings. So it's got the 24 at the bottom and the 1 at the top, which is brilliant. If you want to know about why I put the 1 at the top, it's a bit of an explanation. I won't go into it, so ask me in the comments if you want to know more. After this, I'm going to add a just a paragraph block. So I'm just going to use, I'm actually just going to use the standard. Actually, I don't even need to put in there anything. I just need to go get a little bit of lorem ipsum. So just grab a bit of lorem ipsum over here, like so. And I'll just paste that in there. Cool. And that's also got the Poppins font applied to it. Okay, next thing I'm going to do is, that wasn't meant to happen. Just clear that out, and we'll hit that, and we'll go and add a button. I'm going to use the Greenshift button on this one. So that's now applying the style that we set up in the Stylebook. Nice, right? Cool. Now we also going to add another button, and I'm going to show you something pretty cool about that too. So I'll just duplicate the button, and I will wrap both of these in a container. And on that container, I'm going to set the flexbox settings to row, so they're in a row. And I'm going to go and just put some gap between these two. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to, okay, so cool, alright. Also I'm going to just change the column position in the row there. Okay, great. So now that we've got these things here, the typography set up, which is awesome, and spacing and stuff like that, I'm going to now touch on a little bit about the class system that's built into Greenshift, which is amazing. So yeah, I'll just go over a little bit of that. So now let's just say you're there's going to be some common elements on the page, or even throughout the website, like buttons, button styling. You might have heading stylings, you might have padding on sections and all that sort of stuff. You might have all of that across the board, and you may want to put it in one, like set it up in one place, like the style, and then it just applies that to all of the following elements that you add into the site. And then if you want to change something on one, it updates everywhere at the same time, so you don't have to keep going back and forward. It saves a whole bunch of time. It's a beautiful thing about the class system. So I'm just going to show you a couple of things about how to set up the classes, and then you can sort of build on that with your own knowledge. So for me, I want to create, so this row here, right, it doesn't have any padding other than the padding on the column, but I want to add a bit of top and bottom padding to this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select the row, and over here in the block classes area, I'm going to create a new class. I'm going to call it row small 40, and this is going to be a global, because I want this to sort of cover a global, apply to a lot of elements. Now, classic class is basically just applies one class to it. It doesn't, and then you style that somewhere else. So, like in a CSS file. Local class is only applied to that one block. So if you don't want to have a class system for a global block, choose the local class, so that applies it just to that block only. Okay, and then global class is what I'm going to be doing and showing you the benefits of that. And custom attribute is where you can set up vars or variables, which I have very little knowledge about, and I need to learn more about that, so it could be another video. Okay, so I'm going to add that. I'm going to apply that to the row. So now I'm going to go and click on it, and you'll notice that now I've got a whole bunch of settings here. So the 40 in this dictates that it's going to be a padding of 40 top and bottom. So you can see that that's now applied. Cool. And what else do I want on this? Let's just say that's all I want for this particular class. Now, I hit save. Make sure you hit save, because that, if you don't hit save, you'll lose changes, and it's a heartache. So yeah, just make sure you hit save every time you update a class. And you can add multiple classes as well, so that's really neat. Just by sort of clicking out here. And there's also presets as well, so you can just choose that, and it sort of adds the styles to it automatically, which is pretty nice. So yeah, so there's a whole bunch of different class as well. So and you can also create new classes here as well. So let's just say now I want to add in another row. So I'm going to go add after, and I'm going to go row, and now I'm going to select another column here, and I'll grab a copy of this image, and I'll just pop you down there like that. Nice drag and drop right there. So as you can see, the padding is applied to this row, but it's not applied to this second row. Well, let's go fix that, shall we? Let's go and apply that class that we've created, the row small 40, to that row, and watch what happens. Boom, it adds the padding that we want. Now the other cool thing is if I go and change, say, the padding, so if I go to 80 top and 80 bottom, you'll now notice that it applies it to both of the rows, because they're both sharing the same class. Of course, going to make sure we save it to make that stick, but I'll put it back to 40 again, so that they're both 40 again. So I'll hit save. Great. And then of course you can you can set up, say, another row, and I'll call this medium medium 60, so that's 60 padding. That's going to be also global, and add that. And if I go to the top and cool. So that's applied to that, but if I go up here and then I just remove that and I apply the row 60. Hang on a sec, I think I know what I did. Save that. Come up here and apply the 60. Yeah, so you got to make sure you save. Whenever you make changes to the class, you have to save it. As you can see that it's updating over the side here. Really super important. Okay, so now I'm going to just show you some really other cool things. So this video is getting a little bit long-winded, so I've got to wrap it up. But another thing I want to show you is buttons. So the button here that I've got here is I want to have this as a ghost button, right? So it's pulling in the styling that I set up in the Stylebook. But now I want to create its own style, but it's going to be based on a class rather than the Stylebook. So yeah, so I'm going to go and make this. I'm going to apply a style to this button here. I'm going to call it button ghost, and I'm going to go and make it a global because I might want to use this class again with other buttons in the future. And I'm going to add that. Great. And I'm going to go and make some changes to this. So I'm going to go into this one and I'm going to transparent, make this completely transparent. Cool. And then we want to set a border on this, and I'm going to set a color of the black, and we're going to go into typography, and we're going to set that to the black color or that darker color, and there we go. And I'm also going to change the hover to say the darker one, so it's sort of a contrasty darker for that. And then that's what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to save it. So now what I'm going to do, just to show you how cool it is, so now that I'm going to go down here, I'm going to add another button. So now this is just pulling in the general styling for the from the Stylebook, but I want to apply this ghost class to this button. So, and I'll show you how easy that is. Click on the button, go up to block classes, click on button ghost, the class that we just created, and voila, you've got that. Now the other cool thing is if I change something with this class here, for example, if I change the, say if I want to change the hover background color to the blue, so I can see that has changed over here. I'll save that, but watch, it's also saved on this button as well because it's showing the same class. So that's it. I'm not going to go any more in this video because it's going on for way too long. But I just wanted to show you some really cool things that you can do now with the Greenshift plugin, and it's free. This is all in the free version of the plugin, so it's so cool. Like, and the guy Igor and the team behind Greenshift are just paving the way for the Gutenberg editor. It is just beautiful to work with now, and if you're setting up your websites from with the right foundations from the beginning, you're going to save a whole bunch of time later on when you're building out the site, and you'll be able to build out template sites with the breeze, and with the class system you'll be able to just change things in one place and it will update everywhere on the site, just dynamically changing everything. So it's going to save you a whole bunch of time having to go back into all the pages to re-edit, and I've done that heaps of times in my life, and I never want to do that again. So I hope this video has helped. So we've covered a couple of things, just to recap, uploading local fonts, setting the local or global colors and styles in the Stylebook, and also coming into the site editor and really getting to know the basics, I guess, of the class system. So hope you've enjoyed this video, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks again. Leave any questions you have in the comments below. Like, share, or do whatever you want. But yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you again in the next video. Bye for now.